Good Friday, everybody. We've reached yet another end of a working week, and we're getting ever closer to the winter forecast. That will be released next Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. So if you haven't already done so, now is the time to hit that subscribe button. Lots of things going on at the moment. We've got yellow warnings for snow as well, issued by the Met Office for the coming days. So where are we going to begin? Well, let's begin by saying that we've got the tropical outlook this weekend, or tomorrow, and then we've got the live stream 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. I'll leave a link in the description below for that. Check this out. These were the temperatures yesterday afternoon in Iceland. I want to draw your attention particularly to the eastern half of the country. We had upwards of 23.8 Celsius yesterday afternoon, which is blows away the November record. It actually exceeds the October record for Iceland as well. But cast your eyes to these temperatures. This is the current temperatures 24 hours later over Iceland. We are talking about the same locations, sub-freezing with the interior, talking about mid, close to double digits below freezing. So an astonishing 24-hour period. This has got to be one of the biggest temperature drops in recent memory in Iceland. And it's all thanks to Arctic air that is heading our way, but obviously Iceland catches it before we do. In terms of the UK, these were the temperatures during the early hours of this morning. We had 14 Celsius at Altnahara, while we had the double, I keep saying double, low single figures, even sub-freezing temperatures across parts of Wales, the Midlands and the north of England. So a very variable temperature regime across the UK. And the reasons why we've seen that is clear skies, light winds across southern areas, allowing the temperatures to drop off quite substantially with frost and fog. But then we had a strengthening west to southwesterly airflow, all courtesy of that cold front that is marking the boundary between milder and the colder that is now present over Iceland. That cold front is going to be driving south during the overnight tonight, and it's going to introduce the first Arctic air mass that we've seen in a little while here. Looking at the radar here, and you can see exactly that frontal system now edging into the far northwest. It's now moving through Stornoway and now moving into the northwest of the mainland. Quite a narrow band, but also quite an intense band of gusty winds and heavy rainfall. That's going to move its way southwards, like I say, during the course of this evening. And then we're going to be in a colder regime. So the temperatures this afternoon, 15, 16 Celsius in parts of eastern Highland. I know our good friend Lee at Highland Weather was showing some of the figures that we've seen, 15, 16 locally across parts of Grampian and Aberdeenshire this afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be talking about 5, 6, 7 Celsius. So these very areas that have seen temperatures well above average for the time of the year, they will be below average come tomorrow afternoon. So we're going to see not quite as much of a shock as what we've seen in Iceland, but nonetheless across parts of Grampian and Cairngorm, we are going to see quite a shock in terms of the temperature drop. So this evening, we're still talking about 13 Celsius at Tain, but underneath the more stagnant air, we're actually seeing the temperatures dropping off quite quickly this evening across more southern areas of the UK. Looking at the current winds, you can see here that this is the gusts in kilometres per hour. You can see quite a windy evening across the north. A lack of wind means we're seeing the temperatures dropping off, and we're going to see a similar idea tonight. We're going to see a decrease in temperature as that front moves south, but also we're going to see the cold conditions again across southern areas where skies are relatively clear. We'll look at some of the models in just a second here, but I also want to draw your attention a little bit to where we're at with regards to this overall pattern. So the MJO has moved through the phases of 6. We've seen blocky high pressure over this region for quite some time. Then it moved into phases 7 and then 8, now into phases 1. And you can see here that back in September and October, we've seen these same phases, less amplification if you notice. So this purple line represents September. This is the MJO movement during the September into October timeframe. So we move through the same phases that we seen back in late September and early October. So with the current rotation, I want to show you this here. Now look at the North Atlantic Oscillation. The last time we seen this rotation through phases 7, 8, and 1, this is where the NAO went. So we went into negative territory, quite deeply negative at that. Look where we're going over the next 7 days. We're going right back to where we were the last time the MJO made this rotation through phases 7, 8, and 1. Where is the MJO heading over the next week to 10 days? It is moving into phases 3 and into 4. And phases 2 into 3 into 4, it looks like this here. It looks like what we have seen during the back half of October and through the first half of November. Positive NAO signal. We're likely, remember when we seen phase 3, we also seen named storm back in the end of August. Then we've seen Storm Ashley develop. That was with phase 3 as well. And it would not surprise me that during probably about 10 days from now, my assumption would be, not a guarantee, but my assumption would be that we may see something a little bit more in the way of storminess. And it would not surprise me, actually, if at the tail end of November, we actually see a named storm. So that is where I'm going with this kind of longer term regime and pattern. But over the next week, 10 days or so, we're going to be talking about areas of low pressure moving from generally kind of northwest to east-southeast. So colder to the north, milder to the south. We could see some very significant contrasts between teens across the south of the UK, low single figures across the north, a few afternoons early next week as areas of low pressure move through. If you're to the south of the low, it's going to be rain, it's going to be mild. If you're to the north of the low, we may see initial rain, then a change over to snow, and then colder. It's once these areas of low pressure move eastwards, you open the floodgates to Arctic air moving southwards here. So this is the overall, I'm giving you a little bit of backdrop before we look at some of the individual models. This is the overall thinking in terms of where this pattern is going. We've seen it back half of September, first half of October, firm negative NAO, MJO 7, 8, and 1. We've seen it rotate into phases 2, 3, and 4. Mild conditions is back through phases 7, 8, and 1. We're seeing the NAO going back negative once again. And each time we see these cold spells, we see a little bit more of a potency, because obviously the first cold spell happened in September. Obviously, it's a very different story, September versus the middle half of November. That being said, however, we're still early on, so a cold spell late November is not going to be as influential as what it would be the back half of December. And I'm actually hinting at the potential for milder conditions second half, the very end of November, beginning of December. But I suspect the MJO is going to potentially rotate back through into phases 6, then into 7, 8, and 1 during the middle to second half of December. And it would not surprise me if there's a small opportunity already beginning to show its hand of colder conditions showing up towards the Christmas period. That is a long, long way off, and I fully appreciate the fact that the chances of being able to pinpoint anything this far out is near impossible. No warnings for today, no warnings for tomorrow, but then as we move towards Sunday, we have the first yellow warnings of the season appearing across the north. Northerly airflow, we're going to see snow showers piling in, and the snow level dropping as that cold air continues to penetrate. It is, in my opinion, a largely high ground event, but once these areas of low pressure track across to the south, then colder air digs in, you may see a drop in the snow level to pretty low levels actually. As we move into the day on Monday, we've got a yellow warning still across the north, but notice here that we're starting to see it appear northern England and across southern and central Scotland here. The reasons for that is that we've got an area of low pressure expected to track east to west during the back half of Sunday into Monday. And across the UK, we need to pay close attention to that. Looking at the UK specifically, and you can see here that they will play through this loop. This is off the GFS, by the way, real quick first. There's those snow showers piling in, rain to low levels around the coast. Above 200 or 300 metres, you're going to be talking about accumulating snow with those showers piling in from the north. Then feature number 1 of 2 moves in during the latter half of Sunday, probably into Monday in particular. Notice here that we're starting to see wintry precipitation showing up in the northern flank of the low. So the moisture, as it wraps into that colder air on the northern flank, we're going to see snow breaking out. This is the GFS model, obviously, and it's indicating heavy snow across parts of Northern Ireland, parts of the Northern Republic of Ireland, North Wales, Northern England. Then as it moves through, we continue to see these beefy showers moving in on a northerly airflow, and then another system is expected to move in. Notice here that we've got an area of low pressure dropping in from the north over Scotland here, and then we've got another feature that appears to try and pass, but it's further south. With clear skies, light winds, and snow cover, we could see double digits below freezing, by the way, but this is all the way out to the end of next week. Looking at snow projections here, you can see here that this is what the GFS is indicating regarding the snow depth. So we'll play through. You can see here some patchy snow showing up across the north. Then as that low tracks east to west, you can see it across parts of Donegal, Northern Ireland, Northern England, North Wales. You can see some fairly significant amounts of snow showing up over higher ground. So the Peak District, the North Pennines, North York Moors, for example, may see some significant snow accumulating from this. And then we see, as we play through, that is what the model is indicating in terms of snow depth. Let's have a quick look at the ECM latest anyway, and see this is what is shown for late Monday into early Tuesday. Looking at the overview chart to see what it's indicating. It's all about the track of the low. Also, the depth of the low is also important to take note of. But like I said, one take-home rule: south of the low, you're rain and mild. North of the low, you've got a greater chance of seeing wintry precipitation. So the ECMWF, by the time we reach midnight, Sunday into Monday, there's that area of low pressure. So it's quicker than the GFS in terms of its progress across the Ireland and the UK. Notice also that it has less snow on the northern flank. But instead of the GFS model having one main system, the ECM actually has a weak lead system followed by a stronger system on the backside, and it's that secondary feature moving through during the second half of Monday that delivers more moisture. In terms of the 850s, you can see here that we've got quite the divide: milder across the south, much colder air across the north. It's right on that boundary here that you've got the greatest chance of seeing significant snow showing up here. But remember, we're still early. SSTs around the UK and Ireland are relatively mild at this time of the year. You've also got relatively mild ground also. We've not had a huge amount of cold air to really cool the ground level. So therefore, you might see quite a lot of melting, especially at low levels. Paved surfaces, for example, may see hard to accumulate. I could be mistaken about that, but that's something that I would say needs to be taken into consideration. Play through the loop, and then the cold air comes driving right the way across the UK on the backside of that system as it moves into the near continent here. Looking at snow depth off the ECMWF, and again, significant amounts of snow northern portions of England, especially over high ground, south of Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, especially around the Donegal area. And then we've got some patchy snow across the north. A lot of that is associated with the northerly flow and the convective nature of that driving south. In terms of temperatures by night, we are likely to see some particularly chilly nights with double digits below freezing, quite possible. Have I updated this chart? No, I haven't, unfortunately. So I'm not going to be able to show you that, unfortunately, today. But I'll look at this. I will maybe try and do a European outlook tomorrow. There will be the tropical outlook, but I might do a European outlook given the nature of this pattern change that is unfolding. I've somewhat run out of time, so please, I would greatly encourage you to not only subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. There is daily videos 7 days a week here, but also like the videos as well. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying the content also. But there are so many things going on at the moment here. Stick around and let's watch this evolution of change as it unfolds. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow with the Tropical Outlook. Bye for now.